You are Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fish fans? And we are live. It's your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease, and I am happy to have you with me here today. The Marlins with a tough loss at home against the Cleveland Guardians. They dropped 2 in a row. They dropped their 5th out of 6th, and they lose this home series 2 games to 1. There we go. Just took a minute to load. Your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST right here. I want to thank you for making us your first place that you come and see me and listen to me every single day. Your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST, wherever you get your podcast, whether it be Stitcher, Podbean, iHeart, Apple Music, you name it. We got it for you. Spotify, of course, too, as well. And your Locked On Sports Miami YouTube after every Marlins game, every Dolphins game, every University of Miami football game, and every Miami Heat game, which that season seems like it ended so long ago now with Game 2 of the NBA Finals tonight. But I want to thank you, as always. You know how I feel about you. It's day-by-dayers here, and we love you guys every single day being here with us, no doubt about it. But I want to thank you for making your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST your first listen every day. We're free wherever you get your podcasts, of course, and on YouTube. And today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right. Make every moment more right now. New customers get $250 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, there we go. Your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. Here we go. A little bit slow with the tech today, but we got it locked in and locked on. No doubt about it. 6-3, the final. The Guardians beat the Marlins today, and just not, a good day for the Marlins overall. From the 7th inning on, it was the bullpen that kind of fell apart. And how about Cleveland's bullpen? I mean, Cleveland's bullpen goes 4 1/3 of, besides Clase giving up the home run to Jake Berger in the 9th, of scoreless relief. And that's the first home run of the year given up by Emmanuel Clase, one of the best closers in all of Major League Baseball, if not the best. But the Marlins lose. They drop 2 games in a row to Cleveland. They've lost the series now 2-1. They were swept in a 2-game series by Tampa Bay coming in. So coming into this little mini homestand, 5 games against the Rays, and you know what the Rays have done against the Marlins since 2019. They have absolutely dominated them, and the Rays have beaten the Marlins. What is it now? Wow, let me just fix this level here on the volume. Yep, there we go. The Rays have beaten the Marlins 23 out of 26 times. You didn't hear me wrong. 23 out of 26 times since they have played since 2019 that the Rays have won. And then, of course, coming in the first place, Guardians, but the Marlins took the first game of this series. Anyway, I said prior to this little 5-game homestand, would be nice to win 3 of these. Would be nice to win more of those, right? You had the 2-gamer against Tampa. Say maybe split that one and somehow win 2 against the Guardians. You won the first one. All you had to do was win 1 out of 2 after that, and they were unable to get it done. A little bit better today, but the bats went silent again. This time after the 5th inning, they went completely silent. And you're not going to do so well when your bats are not performing. And excuse me, the Marlins bats didn't perform again today. I mean, Jazz Chisholm crushed the home run in the 4th inning. Beautiful job on that homer. But other than that, they made Carrasco look pretty good. He struck out 4 2/3 innings, only threw 55 pitches. They love that bullpen in Cleveland. Herron, Sandlin, Henkes, Gaddis, and Clase getting it done today. Other than that, when you're looking at Cleveland, let's give you the scoring summary real quick. Gabriel Arias homered to right center, 400-footer in the 2nd inning to open up the scoring off Trevor Rogers. Rogers was good, man, and I'm going to talk about Rogers in a minute. Jazz Chisholm tied it in the 4th with a solo shot, 440 feet, and all that jazz crushed that ball, right? Gordon singles to center. A lot of speculation when you're watching it. Is there going to be a bunt here, the way Gordon been hitting? But Gordon singles in Edwards. Xavier Edwards scores on the air. Dude was hitting 411 in AAA, Xavier Edwards, so it's nice to see him get his shot at the show, and he scored a run today. And then in the 6th inning for Cleveland, Fry singles to right, and Jose Ramirez scores on an error. And the Marlins, it seems like they're committing an error just about every single day now, and it's just not something that you want to be doing. Just silly mistakes that really cost you, and you're a major league team. And I talk about it all the time. It was, where are we at here? It was, Berger and Fortes on the errors today, and Fortes on the catch at the plate. So anyway, Freeman homers to left. This is the big blow of the game right here. Freeman homers in the 7th inning, and let me see. I'm going to pull something else up here for you. In the 7th inning, it was Freeman's homer, because I want to get everything in that inning, not just the scoring play. There we go. Yeah. So it was Schneemann lines out to center. And let's see, who was it? No, Bender came in. It was Puck and then Bender. So Schneemann lines out to center, and Rocchio singles to left, and that got the inning going. The infield single to third. How many times do you see it? Whether it's an error, whether it's an infield single, and there it was an infield single. So Rocchio's safe at third. Throwing error by the third baseman, Berger. Throwing error by Berger. So, and then Quan advances to second on the throw. They get out of the inning, but it's 5-2 because Freeman homers to left field. Rocchio and Quan scored, and that extra run because of the infield single / error, and you know what I'm saying. That kills you there. So Freeman with the bomb, though. He crushed it down the left field line. Rocchio and Quan scored ahead of him, and then it's 5-2, and then you're thinking, all right, you were within 3. You always want to stay within 3 so you can get the couple guys on and get the tying run to the dish, and it didn't end up happening, as in the top of the 9th with Smith pitching for Miami. Ramirez, who had gone, singles in Freeman. And Freeman went to second on a wild pitch. A wild pitch by Smith gets Freeman to second base, and then he scores. An RBI for Ramirez, his 62nd of the season. And how about Ramirez? Jose Ramirez, are you kidding me, brother? This dude has 62 RBIs to lead Major League Baseball, 18 home runs, near the top of the leaderboard. Would have been the player of the month for May had it not been for the ridiculous month that Aaron Judge had. All rise for the Judge, but man, this dude, are you ready for, how about Jose Ramirez? You want to know what he's hitting? With runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Do you know what runners in scoring position means? Second or third base, right? That's scoring position, meaning you score on a base hit. With runners in scoring position and 2 outs, his batting average is .529. He gets a home run, he gets a hit. He gets a hit more than 5 times out of 10 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. This dude's unbelievable. What a job by him, and one of the best players for sure, one of the very best in Major League Baseball is Jose Ramirez. No relation to Manny Ramirez. He's got the crazy hair, kind of looks like him, same name, from the same country, but no relation to Manny, which, by the way, there is no Hall of Fame. There is no Hall of Fame. There's no Bonds, there's no Clemens, there's no Manny, there's no A-Rod, there's no, I won't even bring my kids. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. We gave you the runs rundown real quick. Let's take a look at the box. When you look at the Marlins, first of all, on the offensive side, Chisholm went 1 for 4 with that home run. Struck out twice. De La Cruz mired in an awful slump. He was 1 for 4, DLC today. Bell 0 for 4, seems to have cooled down a little bit. Berger 1 for 4. Oppo on the fastball. Opposite field home run on Emmanuel Clase for Berger, who went 1 for 4. Sanchez 0 for 4. So Bell, who's hitting .252, and Sanchez .239, both 0-fers today. Xavier Edwards with a run scored. Gordon 1 for 2 with the RBI. Brujan 0 for 3. Fortes 0 for 2. And that's pretty much the offense for Miami. On the hill, you had Trevor Rogers going 5. 1 earned run on 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, and 4 walks. More on Rogers' performance in the second segment. Remind me, I'm telling myself to remind myself, we're going to break down Rogers' performance. Had the sinker going today, but couldn't really locate it just the way he wanted, and that was the difference between a great start and a real good one. He still only allowed 1 earned run in 5 innings, but he did walk 4, even though he struck out 5. So he'd love to have those walks back. But his credit, some double plays, when he would he'd issue those walks, there'd be some double plays coming on the heels of that. And so when the Guardians scored in the, that run that they got off, so Arias homered in the top of the second, and that was the home run that he gave up. But here's the one right here. Okay, Gordon singles to center, and that was in the 6th inning for Cleveland, because it was, in the 6th inning for Cleveland, because it was 2-1 Miami. So in the 6th inning for Cleveland, it was, where we at? Okay, all right, so Ramirez doubles to left, of course, and that gets the inning going, and then Naylor flies out, but then Fry singles to right. Ramirez scores on the error, which is the catcher's error, which sends Fry to second. So Ramirez scored anyway. The run was earned, so it ends up being charged to Nardi. So the one run that he allowed, that Rogers did allow, was the home run. And the second run that was allowed was charged to Nardi, not to Rogers. So Rogers had it going, had the sinker going. We'll break down his start on the other side of our first break, which is coming up in just a minute here. And I'm actually going to be taking that in just a second, running a little late on it. But, yeah, so the Guardians offensively, Kwan 1 for 3 with a run scored and walked twice, so he's on base 3 times. Freeman, your number 2 hitter, 2 for 4 with 2 runs, 3 RBIs, the 3-run home run. Struck out twice, but he was on base. Look, he's on base twice, and Kwan's on base 3 times. That's going to be a good day, especially with Ramirez 2 for 5. You got a guy driving in the league-leading run producer with 62 RBIs, and the guys right in front of him get on base a total of 5 times. That's going to be a good day. Naylor 0 for 4, Fry 1 for 4 with an RBI, Jimenez 1 for 4, Arias 1 for 3 with a run scored, and RBI, of course, had the home run. Manzardo 1 for 1 as a pinch hitter, and then Schneemann 0 for 2 and 1 for 4 with a run scored for Rocchio, the number 9 hitter. Meanwhile, the bullpen lights out for the Indians again. Emmanuel Clase gives up his first home run of the year to Jake Berger, but he had been unbelievable. Clase, he was it was the first home run allowed by him all year, but they've only lost 1 game in which they led in the 7th inning or later, and that's a dominating bullpen for Cleveland. Herron, Sandlin, Henkes, and Gaddis pitched 3 1/3 innings of scoreless ball. Clase gave up the 1 home run to Berger as Carrasco, the starter, went 4 2/3, allowing 2 earned runs on 4 hits, struck out 3, walked none, gave up the home run to Jazz Chisholm. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast right here, Locked On Sports Miami YouTube, listening right here on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, iHeart, you name it. Stitcher, Podbean, right where you get your podcast. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease, Gries, at Jim Grease _ on social media. Give me a follow, make you holla. We will continue in just a moment and break down the start of Trevor Rogers, who pitched pretty well, except for one thing. I'll tell you what that is and more on the other side. But first, I have to tell you about Supply House. Supply House is awesome. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. That's right, you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? No problemo. Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the biz and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program, too. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks from SupplyHouse.com. Grease back with you. You're Locked On Marlins postcast. And that is, of course, powered today by the great folks at FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and get started today. We're already well into your Locked On Marlins postcast on your Sunday. Man, how is it June 9th already? It seems like yesterday when the Marlins were losing 9 games in a row to start the season. Before we get into Trevor Rogers and what he did right today, which was just about everything, and what he did wrong today, which was really just one thing, let's take a look at the scoreboard. Yankees-Dodgers are the Sunday night game tonight. It's going to be fun on ESPN. Dodgers beating up on the Yankees a little bit, although the Yanks have the second best record in baseball behind the Phillies. Braves and Nationals, middle of the 8th, 8-2 Washington. The Marlins, of course, will head to Washington after facing the Mets. And it, just kills me with this 5-game mini homestand. I thought they'd go 3-2. I really did, especially you say, hey, they got to at least split with Tampa Bay and would have won 2 of them. But instead, you've lost 5 out of 6. You're going on the road to face the Mets, who are coming back from London with that crazy jet lag, facing the Phillies, getting beat up on. Now they're coming back home. You're catching them at the perfect time. And then you got the Nats right after that. So it could have been a situation where the 2 teams ahead of you in the standings were right there within striking distance. You could have leaped over those 2, but not to be for the Marlins. Meanwhile, Twins-Pirates 4-4, headed to extra innings there in Pittsburgh. Orioles and Rays, Baltimore 9, Tampa Bay 2 in the bottom of the 9th. In Tampa. Bottom 9 also in Cincy. Reds down to their final outs against the Cubs, who lead 4-2. Red Sox, White Sox 4-3 Chi-Town. In the bottom of the 7th. In the 8th inning, the Mariners lead the Royals 3-1 in KC. Top of the 9 in St. Louis, 5-1 Cards over the Rockies. Bottom 2 in Anaheim, no score, Astros and Angels. Top of the 2nd in Oakland, Blue Jays 2, A's nothing. Bottom 1 in Arizona, Padres and Diamondbacks, rather in San Diego. Padres and Diamondbacks tied at 1. Finals, Mets 6, Phillies 5 across the pond. Giants, Rangers 7-2 Texas in Arlington. Of course, the Brewers played the Tigers this weekend. It's Detroit 10, Milwaukee 2. And Motown, and then, of course, our game. 6-3 Guardians over the Marlins. In the MIA-yo, steady slanging, yo, banging, ayo. Every day I'm hustling. Rick Ross, Miami Zone. Come on, Rose, baby. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? The art is the artist. You're locked on Marlins Postcast. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. G-R-I-E-S at Jim Grease _ Really pumped. I'll be doing a lot of awesome things this month with your Locked On Marlins Postcast. All they have to do is start playing a little better for me, and I think that they can do that. But I was encouraged by Trevor Rogers today. I got on his case a little bit yesterday, obviously, and, you know, this dude obviously has talent, right? He's got the heavy sinker, man. When you have a heavy sinker, a heavy sinker. See, they don't have Trevor Rogers' pitch breakdown on MLB.com. They spoil me with this thing, man, the pitch breakdown throughout the day, and it shows you how many pitches of each he threw, but I don't see that in today's. Hold on, maybe we got Trevor Rogers breakdown. But he had the heavy sinker going, had the sweeper looking pretty good. But that heavy sinker, man, when you throw a heavy sinker, the bottom just drops out, and it seems to get harder and heavier as it gets to the plate. So by heavy, I mean the bottom drops out, and it's like it drops off a cliff. And what happens when something drops off a cliff? It gets heavier the further it drops, right? So a heavy sinker as it's dropping. A lot of times all you can do is pound it right into the ground. That's where you see all these double plays from Trevor Rogers in a game like this tonight. But, I mean, this dude, he pitched all right. Rogers had 14 called strikes tonight. When you're getting that number, you're fooling a lot of hitters. 14 called strikes is a ton in a game. It's a ton. It is absolutely a ton of called strikes. So he had that going for him tonight. In 5 innings, he gave up 2 hits, an earned run. The only other hit that he gave up, he gave up a home run, and that was, obviously that was it gave Cleveland the lead early in the game. But in the first inning, he got a fly out from Quan, and then he hit Freeman with a pitch, but got a strikeout and then a ground ball. After he hit Freeman with a pitch, he got a strikeout and a ground ball. That's what the heavy sinker ballers are going to do. Then in the second inning, he gave up the home run with 2 outs. He got a strikeout and a ground out. Then Arias hit the homer off him. But they were lifting the ball a little bit today. But here's a typical Rogers. He gets a leadoff walk to Quan in the 3rd, right? Perfect example. Leads off with a walk against Quan. Freeman strikes out swinging, and then double play, shortstop, second, first, Ramirez. And that's the dangerous Ramirez. You get the number 2 hitter swinging, and then you get also swinging, and then you get Ramirez to hit into the double play. In the 4th inning, Naylor walks, Fry grounds into the double play. 5th inning, strikeout, pop out, strikeout. And that was his day. So he had a lot of action on that ball late, had the sweeper going as well. Fastball wasn't bad, but here's the thing about Rogers today, and this is where you talk about, look, he left the game, and it was tied 1-1 when he was done, and they took the lead, I believe, in the bottom of the 6th. Let me see. Hold on. In the bottom of the 5th, right after he came out. Is that right? Yes, they did. That's when Gordon. So he was still the pitcher of record because he was coming out. Yeah, Gordon scored. He had his place in the lineup, hadn't been removed from the game yet. So he would have gotten the win had they held on to that 2-1 lead. So hard to say anything detrimental or derogatory about him today. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. But the one thing you got to look out for, and the one thing that got him today, was the walks. I mean, that's why his ERA is over 5, right? I mean, he's had trouble with walks before. In Milwaukee, he walked 4 hitters in 3 2/3 on May 21st and lost to Milwaukee. That was the one game they lost against the Brew Crew. But, yeah, I mean, just the walks, man. I mean, just not being able to really fully locate. And that's going to happen. Look, the late action on a pitch like his sinker, it's going to take it out of the zone. And if the hitters have the discipline to not chase it, they're going to get some walks. But they also took 14 called strikes. So that just tells you that they were fooled more than anything. He was fooling the hitters tonight. He was looking good, man. He was fooling the hitters, and it just and didn't end up working out in the end. But, you know, after him, Nardi comes in and gives up that run, and A.J. Puck gives up the 3-run homer, 3 earned runs for him. So Nardi and Puck, 4 runs allowed, all earned tonight, and the Marlins bullpen had been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It all evens out, goes up, it goes down, and meets in the middle throughout the course of 162 games. And then Smith, of course, gave up the run. Bender in 2/3 of an inning didn't allow a run, but the Guardians bullpen, man, Heron, Sandlin, Henkes, and Gaddis were lights out. And, of course, Clase always is, but he gave up the home run to Berger. Let's see if we got the recap yet. If we're ahead of the recap, you know we're doing good. We're way ahead of the recap. And no recap even anywhere to be found just yet. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. So pumped to have you with me after every Marlins game. We are right here where you are watching me right now, Locked On Sports Miami with the postcast. Also, wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Apple Music, whether it be iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get the audio version of your podcast, you get us there as well after every single game. Also, check out on Locked On Sports Miami, Marlins, Heat, Canes, Dolphins, you name them. We got them. Locked On Sports Miami. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. Going to wrap it up on the other side with your Locked On Marlins postcast and take a look ahead. The Mets going to be flying back from England. The Marlins catching them at a perfect time. Could we get a sweep from the Marlins in New York when we come back? I'll take a look at that 3-game series. They got a day off in New York tomorrow. What would you do with a day free and easy in the Big Apple? With the money that they have, too, on top of it. What would you do in New York with that day? It would be amazing. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast, Locked On Sports Miami. And oh, baby, do I love it when it's time to talk about my friends at FanDuel. Summertime means baseball, the NBA Finals, Game 2 tonight, and more. And you can bet it all on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use to bet on everything, from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. Today it was Jazz and Jake, Chisholm, and Berger. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. That's right. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get your summer poppin'. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. One more spot here in this break. I have a question for you Marlins fans. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals, such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people who matter. Right now, This is the best part. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedon for a free 60-day trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to the linkedin.com/lockedon link and get started. That's linkedin.com/lockedon. Get started now with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Oh, mama told you there'd be days like these. Thank you one more time for making Locked On Marlins Postcast your first listen every day. We're free wherever you get your podcast, plus on YouTube. It's after every Marlins game. Thank you so much for being here with me for that. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, reminding you one more time as well that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today. Just one more time for your mind. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Pumped, and thank you to all the sponsors. Really want to say thank you to all of our great sponsors for taking care of us and helping us bring you this great show today. FanDuel, Supply House, LinkedIn, and the Sales Navigator. Marlins could use some run-scoring navigator if LinkedIn can start that. That was corny. I'm sorry. It's been a long weekend, but the Marlins lose 6-3 to Cleveland today. They dropped their second game of this series. They've lost 5 out of 6 to start. You could feel it 'cause it was the month of June. How does it feel when you got no wins? Well, they got one. Anyway, I don't even know. It's just been one of those weekends, but I'm pumped to have you with me. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. The Marlins dropped at 6-3, and you look, they had the lead 2-1. And when Rogers left, in spite of the 4 walks, he had 5 strikeouts, only allowed a couple of hits. One of them was the homer to Freeman, and the only other hit that he allowed was what? It was a single, wasn't it? I want to say it was only a single, and it was in the he hit one batter who was Freeman, and he walked 4 and hit 1. So struck out 5, walked 4 and hit 1. That's 5 free passes. That's not good for Rogers. And he got, let's see, was it in the 4th inning? Yeah, Jimenez single to right. So he allowed just a single and that home run today. And the recap is finally up. We'll hit you with that in a second before we get you ready for the Come On Out and Beat the Mets series coming up in New York. Oh, midweek in New York, then a weekend in D.C. Right now, in June, it's June 9th. Can you imagine? Right now we're sitting here in this bowl of soup we call South Florida with the weather here now. And oh, baby, just imagine a little bit of a getaway. You leave tonight. I'm leaving today. I wanna be, even though Queens isn't really New York, I know it's the bridge and tunnel. But what I'm saying is the borough. But you got to go to New York for 4 days, then you go to D.C. for a few days, and that's a beautiful trip right now this time of year. New York City and Washington, D.C., the Marlins would like to have it be under better circumstances. They fall to 22 and 43, 12 and 25 at home. The Christmas record, 12-25. Cleveland is 42 and 22, 21 and 14 on the road. First place in the American League Central. Big part of the reason why Jose Ramirez factored into the win today. Before we get you ready for the Mets, real quick, a recap for you. Tyler Freeman, 3-run home run in the top of the 7th inning to go ahead, hit it off A.J. Puck, who's been great lately, but the Marlins lose 6-3. The Guardians would add one more run in the 9th inning, and the Marlins would too. Jake Berger with a solo shot in the 9th. Gabriel Arias went deep. Jose Ramirez doubled and drove in his major league leading 62nd run for the Guardians. And let's see, Brian Rocchio and Steven Kwan singled with 1 out. Freeman connected off reliever A.J. Puck with a drive over the wall and left for a 6-home and a 5-2 lead. Nick Sandin pitched the sixth for the win, one of 5 Cleveland relievers. They retired 13 straight today before Berger hit the home run in the 9th off Clase. First home run that he's allowed all year. Marlins have lost 6 out of 7. They're 22-43. The dog days of summer. Nick Gordon did drive in a run today with a single off Carrasco in the 5th, but Cleveland would tie it in the 6th on Fry's single before Freeman with the 3-run shot in the 7th. It was nice to see my friend, old pal Dontrell Willis. I did the Marlins pregame shows for 2 years in the early 2000s. The D-Train threw out the first pitch today. Never forget that 03 season, that electricity when the D-Train came steaming down the tracks all year for the world champion Marlins. Who else was a rookie that year for the Marlins? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Miguel Cabrera, a Hall of Famer and one of the best right-handed hitters of all time. One of the many Marlins who have come and unfortunately gone. But the Marlins dropped this one today, and they lose again, 5 out of 6 here in the month of June as they have hit the skids in the dog days of summer. Going to New York to play the Mets, though. The Mets coming back from London after that 3-game series against the Phillies. Did you see Bryce Harper do the soccer slide? I don't care about soccer. I think it's the worst sport in the history of the world, but I like the way Bryce kind of paid homage to the soccer stars over there, or as they say, football in London. But yeah, the Mets get crushed by the Phillies, as everybody has been doing this year. The Marlins going in for the 3-gamer, and that will start on Tuesday with, let's see, who's pitching? Jesus Luzardo, who was great before his last start, got ripped, gave up 9 runs his last time out, but had 4 great starts in a row right before that. We'll be here right after the game with your Locked On Marlins postcast, hosted by me, Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease, Gries, and thank yourself. Give yourself a little pat on the back for being a diehard fan. You day-by-dayers know who I'm talking about. The Marlins lose 6-3 at home to Cleveland. They lose 2 out of 3. They drop the series. They've dropped 5 out of 6 games overall. That's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. Your Locked On Marlins postcast on your Sunday. 6-3 Guardians. Marlins getting on a plane and heading to New York. Not a bad week. New York and D.C. back-to-back. This time of year, getting out of the heat in South Florida. Hopefully they can turn it around with Luzardo on the mound against the come on out and beat the Mets. We'll see that on Tuesday. We'll be here right after the game with the Locked On Marlins postcast. Until then, keep your game tight and your mind right, Fish fans. We are out.